Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, got a post here from Mingo, and this one's a shout out to Mini Arcade Systems, one of my subscribers. This one's for you because you did drop me a comment very recently about Mingo. I had covered them before, but this is a real great update, so I thought I'd share this for you. So Mingo say, Mingo has secured an exclusive ticketing deal across 54 African countries. Through our partnership with African Boxing, Mingo tickets will roll out at continental scale to address fraud and scalping while improving access for fans and organisers. Real world adoption on Hedera is now. Great stuff to see. So I've got the article here on this that goes in a bit more detail, so let's get into that. Mingo today announced the launch of Mingo Tickets, its digital ticketing platform, alongside its expansion across 54 countries. Designed to make event access verifiable and reliable, the platform improves the fan experience while giving organisers greater confidence and control over ticketing. Live event ticketing continues to face major challenges worldwide, from ticket fraud and duplicated access to high fees and poor fan experiences. As demand for live events grows globally, organisers are under increasing pressure to adopt systems that are secure, scalable and accessible across multiple markets. Built as a progressive web app and powered by enterprise-grade infrastructure on the Hedera network, Mingo Tickets works seamlessly across devices without app downloads. It addresses core ticketing issues such as fraud and duplication, supporting high-volume events with predictable costs, fast performance and built-in integrity. As part of this expansion, Mingo is rolling out Mingo Tickets across Africa through a partnership with African Boxing and the Ukatako Boxing League, I hope I pronounced that right, supporting live events across 54 nations and one of the world's fastest growing sports markets. Africa represents a mobile-first environment where accessibility and reliability are critical. Mingo Tickets is designed to operate across diverse markets while helping reduce ticket fraud by issuing verifiable digital tickets that make authenticity provable rather than assumed. Mingo was one of the earliest builders on Hedera, selecting the network to support real-world utility at scale. Hedera's speed, security, sustainability and predictable fees enable Mingo Tickets to operate effectively from grassroots events to major international promotions. A practical approach to event access. Verifiable digital tickets that help prevent fraud and duplication. Lower predictable ticketing fees for organisers. Simple mobile first access through a progressive web app. Tools that allow organisers to engage fans beyond the event. Joe Arthur, CEO of Mingo, said, quote, "As live events scale globally, the systems behind them need to scale too. Mingo Tickets is about improving access, reducing fraud and giving organisers a platform they can rely on, while keeping the experience simple for fans. Expanding across 54 countries is a major step in proving that this model works." Unquote. Honorary Omalai Yukabu Imadu, CEO of Ukatako Boxing Promotions and Vice President of African Boxing, hailed the partnership as a turning point for African sports. Quote, "Our vision has always been to elevate African boxing to the global stage, but we lacked the digital highway to connect our 54 nations. Mingo is not just a ticketing app, it is the operating system for the future of our sport. By integrating ticketing, fighter payments and fan engagement into one sovereign platform, we are finally unlocking the true economic power of the African continent." Unquote. Kevin Noon, Secretary General of the WBC Asian Boxing Council and Secretary General of the WBC Muay Thai, added, quote, "This partnership is a step in the right direction, making events more accessible for fans while protecting the integrity of the sport. Making events more accessible for fans while protecting the integrity of the sport is hugely important. Mingo Tickets achieves both by delivering a simple, secure and fair ticketing experience. Exactly what the boxing and Muay Thai industries need as they continue to grow around the world." Built for scale and global use. The rollout across 54 countries marks the first phase of Mingo's wider international expansion. Future developments will continue to focus on improving access, reducing friction and supporting organisers and fans with infrastructure designed for real-world events at global scale. Okay. Real great stuff to see here. Real great update in regards to Mingo. So I had covered them before and I said that these seem really promising. I think the whole idea of like the ticketing thing is a real great use case. And the reason why I say that is because one of the things that's, been really bad in terms of, trying to get things these days, and just doesn't just have to be like ticketing, is scalping. And scalping is just basically people who are buying something for a certain price that's very high in demand and as like a lower supply, and then selling it for more than what it's supposed to be. So just for example, the PlayStation 5s, when they first came out, people were just buying the PlayStation 5s so there was no more available, and then they were selling the PlayStation 5s for more than what they're like the retail value. Now imagine how mad that would make Sony as a company, who are selling their product at a certain price, and then those are being sold but then sold back on for a higher price, so they're losing out on all that profit that's being made, right? And obviously it's not fair for them in terms of their audience, right, their customers, because people want the PS5 but they can't, because people who've got the money are just buying them in bulk, which is keeping their customers from being able to get the PS5 and then be able to use the console, right, and buy the games and stuff. So you can see how this can affect, companies and whatnot. And so, seeing this happening now, like, that's a real big start, right? 54 countries. And I think it's just going to scale. Like, I can imagine this being a big thing because, like, as I said earlier, like the fraud, the scalping, these are huge issues when it comes to ticketing. And if they can put a stop to that with this technology using Mingo, why wouldn't they do this? Now, as far as I'm aware, I did see something before where they were, I believe, doing something with Kid Rock. I think it was Kid Rock's tour where what was going to be the first like use case of the ticketing, going live. I haven't really seen anything updated to that, but the fact that they've got this partnership once again shows you that there's interest there. And I think it will expand further, to be honest with you. I think this is just one of those things where, as you start to see this being done successfully, again, you'll get that word of mouth. It's spreading, like, this is the new way that we do our ticketing. This is really great. It's a lot better than the old school way, because the way they can do this now is that, like, even if they sell the tickets on, I believe they can kind of like restrict the price and stuff like that, and actually can make it so that the person still gets a piece of the profit through these tickets via this app, through the technology. So even if people are doing the scalping, it's not going to be a thing where artists are losing out on money, or, developers, whatever. They're not losing out on money because they'll still get a percentage of that profit. And I believe they can restrict it so that they can't sell it for higher than what they paid for it or something along those lines. I believe that's also in there, which would make sense because it's programmable, that kind of thing. But yeah, like, this is going to really, crack down on that industry. A lot of people are going to be, out of their business. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be honest, like, you shouldn't really be doing that anyway. You're profiting off of other people's work, realistically, just because you've got the money to do so. It's not like this is a real job or anything like that. You're just buying something and then selling it for a higher price because there's not as much tickets out there. So I'm not really going to act like I have any kind of sympathy for this. I think this is something that really does need to come to an end, because at the end of the day, the people who really suffer are the fans or the audience or the customers, right? Because they're the ones having to pay more money. So at the end of the day, the person who threw a concert or sold the product, they've still at least got the money for the product, right? That's still being paid for. But the fan has had to pay way more. So yes, the artist can be annoyed, or the developer, whatever, can be annoyed that yes, they've sold it on for more money. So that's money that they've missed out on. But at least they've still got the money for the product itself, and they've still got some money. The audience or the customer or whatever have had to pay way more money than they typically would have had to. So they're the ones who've really been shortchanged here, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think this is a great update to see. As I say, I think this will continue to expand. I think as we go more into this, crypto enabled and adopted world, I think this will become the norm. I kind of look at this as the same way as tokenization. Like, I think eventually the tickets will be done in this way. Whether it will all be done through Mingo, I can't say that for sure. But with Mingo being one of the pioneers of this use case, do I think they've got a head start advantage and that could be very beneficial for them? Well, yeah, absolutely. Like, you can already see this deal they've got where they're expanding over 54 countries now. So you can see that they've already got the upper hand. So yeah, they definitely stand to benefit from this. And this is all utility happening on Hedera. And so this is real world adoption. This is the kind of stuff that you'd want to see, building that value. Real great thing to see here. And as I say, for me, I think Mingo is a very promising developer. I think they have a very good chance of success with this, because there's not much competition in their field. I'm not aware of anyone else doing anything like this. So straight away, they've got the upper hand and the first mover advantage. So it's a really great use case. It's a simple but effective use case. So that's why I can imagine this being successful. So I'll definitely keep an eye on this, but real great update to see here. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.